How high-value men speak to women, make her miss you badly. Old Stoic wisdom, Stoicism. The way to know if a man is truly wise is by how he speaks to the heart of others. Have you ever wondered why certain men seem to effortlessly captivate the attention of every woman they encounter? It's not their appearance, wealth, or social standing that sets them apart. The real secret lies in the way they speak. High-value men possess a rare ability. Their words are like a magnet that pulls a woman's thoughts even when they're not around. It's not magic, it's a powerful tool, deeply rooted in timeless wisdom. These men understand that true influence comes not from grand gestures, but from the way they communicate. Their words linger long after they've left the room, making women miss them deeply, without needing to say much at all. In the coming moments, I will reveal the art of speaking, in a way that will leave her thinking about you, even when you're no longer by her side. Listen closely, because what you're about to learn will transform the way you approach conversations with women, leaving a lasting impression that will make them crave your presence. 1. The power of first impressions. Setting the stage for long-lasting attraction. First impressions are the bedrock of how high-value men create a sense of longing and intrigue. But here's the thing, most men get wrong. They focus too much on trying to impress a woman right away, whether it's through physical appearance, flashy stories, or overwhelming charm. High-value men, on the other hand, know that the first interaction isn't about winning her over in one moment. It's about leaving a subtle yet lasting impression on her mind. It's not about forcing anything, but rather creating an experience that she'll carry with her long after the conversation ends. This initial moment is all about how you make her feel, not just what you say. High-value men understand that women are emotionally perceptive and pick up on subtle cues, from body language to tone of voice and even the energy you project. The key is to make sure your presence is felt before you even speak, because how you carry yourself will often determine whether she'll be thinking about you after your interaction. As legendary author and philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." The unspoken language of confidence. A key aspect of high-value men is their ability to speak with an unspoken language of confidence. Confidence is not about trying to be loud or overly assertive. It's deeply rooted in self-awareness and an understanding of your value. A man who walks into any situation with an internal belief that he brings value to the table will naturally command attention. His posture is strong, movements deliberate, and speech calm and measured. Rather than rushing through sentences or filling the air with words to impress, he speaks deliberately, knowing that each word holds weight. This creates a magnetic presence that forces her to pay attention, intrigued by the quiet yet undeniable power he exudes. Women are naturally attracted to men who do not feel the need to prove themselves with every sentence or constant chatter. Silence, used effectively, can be a powerful tool. When high-value men pause in conversation, they allow the woman time to process and reflect, building curiosity and creating a space she'll often want to fill. As the great Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, once wisely said, "The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts." When you are calm and intentional, you leave a lasting imprint on her mind that goes beyond the words themselves. Emotional control is attractive. Another critical trait that high-value men understand is the power of emotional control. Women, whether consciously or subconsciously, seek stability and security, and emotional maturity signals that you are someone capable of providing that. High-value men do not let their emotions govern their reactions in conversations, especially when faced with teasing comments or light challenges. Instead, they remain composed, often responding with humour or even turning it into a playful challenge of their own. This non-reactive demeanour speaks volumes about their emotional resilience and maturity. It shows that they are in control of their emotions and are not easily rattled, a trait that women find incredibly attractive. Women are drawn to men who can maintain composure and show maturity in difficult situations, as it suggests they can handle the pressures that come with life and relationships. This kind of emotional stability goes a long way in leaving a lasting impression. When you do not overreact to the small things, you stand apart from the crowd of men who are constantly trying to please or feel threatened by minor provocations. You become someone she sees as emotionally strong, calm, and dependable. As Stoic philosopher Epictetus wisely stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your ability to stay calm amidst chaos demonstrates strength and attracts admiration. Subtle gestures that speak volumes. High-value men also understand that subtle gestures often speak louder than words. It's the small, calculated actions that leave the most powerful impact on a woman, and these are the moments that stay with her long after the conversation ends. These gestures might be simple, like the firm yet gentle handshake, a calm and steady tone of voice, or the way you maintain eye contact and nod to show that you're truly engaged. Women are constantly reading body language, and high-value men are aware of this, using their body language as an effective tool to communicate confidence, warmth, and control. They understand that it's not necessary to overcompensate with grand gestures. It's the way they present themselves in the subtleties that leaves a profound mark. They know that even in silence, a moment of eye contact or a smile can say more than 1,000 words. And this is where high-value men excel. They never fidget, never seem rushed, and always appear composed. The little things, when done with purpose, speak volumes. As the philosopher Lao Tzu once said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." It's often the smallest steps, those subtle gestures, that create the most lasting connections. High-value men understand that it's the mastery of these subtle yet powerful principles: first impressions, confidence in speech, emotional control, and subtle gestures that separate them from the pack and create an unforgettable presence in a woman's mind. They know that true attraction isn't about impressing her right away, but about creating an experience that stays with her long after you part ways. These men make women think about them, not through flashy displays, but through an inner confidence that radiates, leaving a subtle imprint on her emotions. So, if you're looking to make her miss you badly, remember to be present, controlled, and intentional. As you walk through the world with high-value principles, women will naturally be drawn to the magnetic energy you exude, making it impossible for them to forget you. 2. The mystery factor. In the art of attracting and maintaining the interest of a woman, high-value men have mastered the subtle yet powerful technique of creating mystery. In today's world, where social media encourages people to share every intimate detail of their lives, many individuals have lost touch with the allure of the unknown. High-value men, however, understand that mystery is a vital ingredient in attraction. When everything is laid bare too soon, the excitement fades away, leaving nothing for the imagination. Women, in particular, are drawn to the enigmatic, the things they cannot fully understand. This is because the human brain craves resolution. When something remains hidden or only partially revealed, it sparks curiosity, causing the mind to obsess over what is left unsaid. This psychological principle is what high-value men use to their advantage in their interactions with women. From the very first conversation, they are careful not to reveal everything. For example, when asked about their job, a high-value man might reply, "It's a bit complicated, but I enjoy it." This short answer leaves her wanting more, prompting her to think about him long after the conversation ends. The lack of full disclosure doesn't frustrate her. Rather, it draws her in. As she becomes intrigued by what lies beneath the surface, she will replay the interaction in her mind, trying to piece together the mystery, and in doing so, she will find herself missing him. The key here is that mystery is not about being elusive or avoiding conversation, but about leaving enough unsaid to maintain a sense of intrigue and excitement. The high-value man understands that it's not necessary to offer every detail about his life, just enough to keep her wondering. Deliberate ambiguity. To use mystery effectively, it's essential to master the art of deliberate ambiguity. High-value men don't employ ambiguity simply to frustrate or confuse. Rather, they use it to spark curiosity and keep the conversation flowing. They provide enough information to pique interest, but withhold enough to leave room for the imagination. For instance, when a woman asks about his hobbies, a high-value man may respond, "I've been working on a project that's really exciting, but I'll tell you about it sometime." This not only leaves her curious about what the project is, but it also gives her something to look forward to. The anticipation of learning more in the future creates a subtle but powerful connection. By withholding certain details, the high-value man gives the woman the chance to wonder about him and build a mental narrative of who he might be. Over time, this creates an emotional investment, as she becomes eager to fill in the gaps. In fact, the more you withhold, the more you let her imagination run wild, which often makes you appear more intriguing than you could ever be by oversharing. Strategic silence. Another key aspect of creating mystery is knowing when to remain silent. Many people find silence uncomfortable, especially during conversations, but high-value men understand that silence can be one of the most powerful tools in their arsenal. When they choose to remain quiet, they allow space for tension to build. This tension, though subtle, encourages deeper reflection on what was just said and enhances the emotional connection. High-value men aren't afraid of the silence that often follows a compelling statement or question. Instead of quickly filling the silence with more words, they let it linger, allowing her to process and reflect on the meaning of what was said. These moments of strategic silence create a sense of intimacy that words alone cannot provide. The high-value man knows that sometimes a single moment of stillness can speak volumes, allowing the woman to contemplate her feelings and the conversation's depth. By giving her this emotional space, he gives her the opportunity to connect with him on a deeper level. The next time they talk, she will remember that conversation not only because of what was said, but because of how it made her feel. The pause, the silence, creates an experience, one that she will cherish and replay in her mind, increasing her emotional attachment to him. In modern dating, where instant gratification and constant communication are the norms, high-value men stand apart by embracing the power of mystery. They don't overshare, and they don't rush to fill every silence. Instead, they create an atmosphere of curiosity and emotional depth. By withholding just enough information, they keep the woman engaged and invested. Each interaction becomes an experience, a puzzle that she wants to solve, and this creates a lasting impact. High-value men don't just speak to women. They create emotional experiences that stay with them long after the conversation ends. Whether it's through a well-timed pause or an intriguing statement left unfinished, high-value men understand that the art of mystery is not about playing games, but about creating genuine emotional connections that are meaningful and lasting. It's a skill that requires confidence and self-assurance, but once mastered, it becomes one of the most powerful tools in building attraction and fostering deeper connections. In a world where everything is shared instantly, the ability to create a sense of mystery is a rare and valuable trait. High-value men understand that it is not about saying everything, but about saying just enough to leave her wanting more. By mastering the art of mystery, they make her think about them long after the conversation ends, ensuring that they are always on her mind, even when they are not around. If you found this valuable, don't forget to like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Subscribe for more wisdom on Stoicism and how it can shape meaningful relationships. Comment to remember, I am a high-value man. 3. Emotional impact. Words are cheap, and anyone can string together a few sentences. What sets high-value men apart is their ability to create emotional experiences within every interaction. It's not just about what you say, it's about the emotions you evoke. It's not just the content of what is said, but the emotional impact of the exchange that lingers long after the conversation ends. Women, at their core, are emotional creatures. High-value men understand this truth completely. They don't waste time on trivial small talk. That's merely a superficial layer they use to initiate a deeper connection. They know that what really matters is the depth of the conversation. These men make every word count, deliberately crafting their speech to reach the emotional core of the woman they are speaking with. They ask questions that cut to the heart of what she values most, what excites her, and what makes her feel truly alive. When a high-value man speaks, he doesn't just engage in a casual exchange. He sparks a fire within her, creating an emotional roller coaster that sweeps her off her feet. Through this back and forth of emotional highs and lows, he keeps her captivated, invested, and eager for more. It's this emotional intensity, this ability to make a woman feel a range of emotions, that makes her think about him long after they've parted ways. She'll miss him because his words have left an imprint on her heart, something no ordinary conversation could ever do. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." High-value men react with purpose, understanding the power of emotional influence. They know that to truly hold a woman's attention, to make her crave their presence, they must transcend the mundane and dive into a conversation that stirs her soul, a conversation that leaves her unable to forget them. This is the art of mastering emotional impact, and it is a power that comes from the wisdom of the ancients, tailored for modern men who understand that true attraction is emotional, not physical. Be the man who doesn't just speak. Be the man who makes her feel like she's standing on the edge of a great adventure. When you master the art of making her feel, you won't have to worry about her missing you. She'll miss you before you even leave. If you find this valuable, comment below and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember. Master the art of emotional impact, and she'll miss you before you even leave. 4. The power of respectful challenge. High-value men possess a deep understanding of the art of respectful challenge, a power that is often underestimated. They are not the type to simply agree with everything a woman says or constantly seek her approval. Instead, they engage in thoughtful dialogue, offering questions or remarks that challenge her thinking, sparking deeper conversations. It is not about confrontation. It's about intellectual stimulation. When a man respects a woman's mind enough to ask questions that stretch her thoughts or challenge her perspective, he elevates her. He makes her feel valued not just for her beauty, but for her intelligence, her depth, her essence. He creates an environment where she feels both respected and intrigued, a rare combination that pulls her in time and again. Consider this. The Stoics, such as Marcus Aurelius, understood that true value lies not in agreement, but in the capacity for growth and mutual respect. Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." This doesn't mean being hostile. It means standing firm in your own truth and respecting the truth of others. High-value men understand this dynamic. They stand firm in their beliefs, but they respect the woman's individuality by challenging her to think deeper, question her assumptions, and ultimately grow. This deep connection to intellectual respect is incredibly magnetic. A woman, when treated this way, begins to see him not as someone who seeks her approval, but as someone she can learn from and with. When you challenge a woman in this way, you're not trying to win an argument. You're creating a platform for her to engage with you on a more meaningful level. She is invited to show her intelligence, and as she demonstrates it, she grows more emotionally attached. This is why high-value men never settle for surface-level conversations. They understand that true connection stems from vulnerability, from exchanging ideas that challenge, provoke, and inspire. It's this intellectual connection that keeps her coming back for more. The words of the philosopher Epictetus ring true. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You see, when you approach conversations with a high-value mindset, you're not looking for approval. You're engaging to challenge, to learn, and to grow together. Now, let's talk about how this translates into your everyday life. Let's say you're out with a woman you admire. Instead of simply agreeing with everything she says, you gently introduce a new perspective. You don't go in with force, but with curiosity. Asking her, "Have you ever thought about it this way?" Or, "What's your take on this issue, given your experiences?" Your tone isn't confrontational. It's respectful. deeply interested in her thoughts and opinions. The more you allow her to express her mind, the more she'll feel valued, not just for her appearance, but for her intellect. It's like adding another layer to your connection, one that deepens the bond. In the modern world, where superficial interactions often reign, this type of engagement becomes even more powerful. Men who engage in this way are seen as rare, distinguished from the crowd, and attract women who are looking for a deeper connection. High-value men don't chase validation. They inspire it. They challenge, but always with respect. This approach does something incredibly powerful. It makes her miss you. Why? Because you've left her with more to think about, more to question, and more to look forward to. It's a delicate balance of curiosity and respect. As high-value men know, it's not about talking more. It's about making your words count, making them matter. Let's be clear. This isn't about dominating the conversation or creating tension. It's about mutual respect. It's about showing that you value her not just for her physical presence, but for her mind. By challenging her, you're showing confidence, not insecurity. You're engaging her at a level that transcends the surface. That's the kind of connection that makes her crave more of your presence, more of your conversations, more of your ideas. In your daily interactions, remember, challenge is not an act of aggression, but of respect. Be deliberate in your words, but never rude. Make her think, but never belittle. High-value men don't just pass the time in conversation. They create environments where minds grow, where ideas clash and converge, and where connection becomes something meaningful, deep, and unforgettable. You want her to miss you? Don't be afraid to make her think. Challenge her and watch the connection blossom. So here's a challenge for you. The next time you're in a conversation, don't just nod along. Ask, question, challenge her thinking. Not to win, but to build a deeper connection. Watch how she begins to respect you more, admire you more, and yes, miss you more. Engage her mind and the rest will follow. Show up as that man. 5. The art of giving space. The art of giving space is an essential lesson that high-value men understand deeply. These men, grounded in timeless wisdom, recognize that relationships, especially with women, are not built on constant proximity or incessant communication. In fact, they understand that overwhelming a woman with constant attention, whether through non-stop texts or constant presence, can have the unintended effect of diminishing attraction. Rather than chasing her or trying to force a connection, high-value men master the delicate art of giving space. By doing so, they allow the relationship to develop at a natural pace, where both parties can savor the moments shared, reflect on them, and feel the anticipation of the next encounter. The absence of constant interaction creates a void, one that naturally pulls her in, as she begins to miss him, think about him, and crave their next exchange. It's this space, this thoughtful distance, that enables a deeper connection to flourish, because it allows her to process the emotions and experiences they've shared and leave her longing for more. High-value men don't rush the process, as they understand that forcing closeness too soon can stifle attraction and stunt the growth of the relationship. They recognize that when you give someone room to breathe, you make each moment more precious and every interaction more exciting. This space, this pause in the rhythm of constant communication, becomes the catalyst for a deeper emotional connection, as it builds a sense of anticipation, excitement, and longing. The time apart creates a sense of mystery and excitement that makes her eager for the next interaction, knowing that each one will be worth the wait. In modern life, this idea remains just as relevant. Many men, especially in a world driven by instant gratification, are caught up in the desire to stay constantly connected, sending endless texts, making constant calls, or checking in without giving the relationship room to breathe. However, true value lies not in the volume of interaction, but in the quality and timing of it. High-value men know when to step back and give space, allowing the woman to feel a sense of mystery and build her own thoughts about the relationship. This doesn't mean playing games or acting aloof. Rather, it's about knowing when to give her the space to come to her own conclusions and to feel the need for your presence, not because she's constantly being reminded of it, but because she values the moments you've shared. In relationships, whether in the early stages or more established ones, there's a fine line between showing interest and overwhelming the other person. High-value men don't rush to fill every silence, don't try to be constantly in the spotlight, and don't try to keep the other person engaged at all times. Instead, they focus on creating moments of value that leave lasting impressions. These men understand that space isn't just about physical distance, but about allowing the other person to have the time and freedom to think, reflect, and miss them. The more time she has to reflect on the relationship and the moments shared, the more she will naturally desire more of those experiences. It's the anticipation that builds attraction, not the overexposure that leads to complacency. From a modern perspective, it's essential to realize that giving space is not an act of indifference, but an act of respect and confidence. It shows that you are self-assured enough to allow the relationship to evolve naturally without forcing it. High-value men aren't afraid of allowing the relationship to breathe because they know that this breathing room fosters growth. It lets both parties build their own identities, their own desires, and come together stronger as individuals, not as codependent entities. Giving space, in essence, allows each person to appreciate the other more, and when they come together again, the connection feels more meaningful and impactful. To put it simply, high-value men don't chase. They allow the attraction to grow at its own pace. They don't flood the woman with constant reminders of their presence, but instead, give her the time and space to reflect, miss, and desire more. It's in the pauses, the quiet moments, the times apart, that true longing is cultivated. This is a dynamic that, when executed properly, creates a healthy, balanced relationship full of excitement, anticipation, and a deep emotional connection. So, if you want to master the art of attraction, remember that sometimes less is more. Allow her the space to miss you, and in doing so, you'll create a deeper and more meaningful bond than you could have ever imagined. 6. The charm of subtle compliments. High-value men don't simply throw around compliments for the sake of it. They understand the power of their words and how they shape perceptions and relationships. Compliments are not about flattering a woman to win her favour or to feed her ego. They are about making her feel seen, truly seen, in a way that goes beyond superficial beauty. A high-value man doesn't take the easy route of complimenting her looks, such as saying, "You're beautiful," because he knows that beauty fades. He chooses instead to speak to the things that matter in the long run: her character, her intellect, her actions. These are the qualities that make a woman stand out, and when acknowledged, they create a deeper, more meaningful connection. For instance, imagine you're with a woman who has just handled a tough situation with poise and clarity. Instead of simply telling her, "You did well," a high-value man might say something like, "I truly admire the way you handled that." It's rare to find someone with such poise and clarity under pressure. Notice how the compliment isn't shallow or cliché. It speaks directly to her strength of character and her ability to maintain composure in challenging circumstances. This is the type of compliment that sticks. It's personal, specific, and rooted in something she can be proud of for the long term. This approach doesn't just flatter, it elevates. It makes her feel recognized for what truly defines her as a person, not just her appearance. And this is a powerful dynamic. High-value men know that compliments rooted in substance make a woman feel both special and respected. When you compliment a woman for her wisdom, her resilience, or her unique qualities, you're telling her, "I see you for who you truly are." You aren't falling into the trap of praising what everyone else notices, the external features. Instead, you're focusing on what sets her apart in a world full of distractions and superficial judgments. Think of it this way. When you compliment a woman's character or intellect, you're not only acknowledging something she takes pride in, but you're also showing her you're paying attention to the qualities that matter most. This type of attention creates a bond that goes beyond the physical. It taps into something much deeper. As Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, once said, the best way to avenge yourself is not to become like the wrongdoer. When you give a compliment rooted in admiration for someone's true self, you rise above the usual flattery that many people use to manipulate or win approval. You refuse to follow the herd. Instead, you focus on what is real and lasting. A practical example of this might be during a conversation with a woman you care about. Let's say you're talking about a difficult situation she recently overcame. Rather than offering a vague, "that's great," or "you did awesome," you might say, "I'm amazed by how you handled that challenge. You didn't let the pressure overwhelm you, and you came out even stronger. That's the mark of a true leader." Not only does this highlight her resilience, but it also gives her credit for showing strength and growth. It's a compliment that goes beyond the surface and truly acknowledges her inner strength and the way she handled herself under pressure. It speaks to her ability to rise above adversity, and it makes her feel powerful and valued. This is the essence of a high-value man's approach to compliments. He understands that true compliments are rooted in respect and admiration for a woman's deeper qualities, not just her outer appearance. And this approach doesn't just make her feel good in the moment, it lingers. It builds a foundation of respect and appreciation that keeps her thinking about you long after the interaction ends. By complimenting her mind, her strength, and her actions, you create a connection that isn't based on fleeting attraction, but on something far more enduring: mutual respect and genuine admiration. When you take the time to compliment someone in this way, you make her feel like she's the only one who truly sees and understands her worth. This isn't the kind of compliment you give to everyone. It's reserved for someone special, someone who has earned your admiration, and that's precisely why it has such a powerful effect. So, if you want to make her miss you, if you want to make her think about you when you're not around, then start complimenting her for the right reasons. Compliment her character, her wisdom, and her actions. Make her feel like she's seen for who she really is, not just for the way she looks. When you do this, you'll create a deep, meaningful connection that will stay with her far longer than any empty, superficial compliment. Remember, as high-value men, your words carry weight. Use them wisely, and they will serve you well. Now, I want to hear from you. How do you incorporate these types of compliments into your interactions with the women in your life? Share your experiences and thoughts in the comments below. Let's start a conversation about how we can all improve the way we connect with others through the power of words. Conclusion: communication is more than just words. High-value men understand how to create emotional depth, mystery, and anticipation in every interaction. They speak in a way that leaves a lasting impression, creating space for a woman to miss them. When they re-engage, they do so with purpose, deepening the emotional connection each time. The high-value man doesn't overstay his welcome. He knows that emotional absence creates emotional desire. It's through this masterful dance of presence and absence that he keeps her intrigued, never fully revealing himself, but always hinting at something deeper, something worth discovering. He speaks with purpose, with intent, and each interaction is like a puzzle piece that leads her closer to a profound emotional connection, but only when she's ready for it. His silence isn't insecurity. It's strategic, allowing the mystery to build. Just like the great Stoic, Marcus Aurelius said, "The universe is change. Life is opinion." By embracing this philosophy, he understands that his value doesn't come from seeking approval, but from remaining constant in his own worth and allowing others to discover it in their own time. In modern life, this approach is powerful. Women are naturally drawn to men who exude mystery and confidence, the ones who don't rush to fill every moment with words or actions, but instead create space for desire to build. When you stop chasing, you'll notice a shift in how women respond to you. They begin to gravitate toward you, not because you're trying to impress, but because you've created an emotional space they can't resist. And when you leave, they'll miss you, not out of desperation, but out of genuine emotional connection. You have become a man who attracts, not by force, but by allowing your presence and your words to hold weight. High-value men understand this. They don't need to chase. They only need to be themselves, and the rest will follow. So remember this: Control your presence, speak with purpose, and let her miss you. Because in the end, a high-value man never chases, he attracts. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has given you valuable insights into how high-value men can speak to women and create lasting attraction. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with others who could benefit, and subscribe to the channel for more wisdom on Stoicism and relationships. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any feedback or would like to discuss anything further about today's content, feel free to leave your comments below. Your opinions matter, and I'm always here to engage with you. Remember, the journey to becoming a high-value man isn't just about what you say, but how you live. Stay wise, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.